We never thought swinging would be easy, and we were right. At first, it felt like everyone else had it all figured out, while we're just stuck in our doubts and fears and endless what-if scenarios. But we found 5 key things that made all the difference. 5 tips that helped us navigate the challenges and truly made it work. If you've ever wondered how couples actually succeed in the lifestyle, you need to hear this.
Welcome to Swinger University. I'm Ed.
And I'm Phoebe.
Today we're going to be talking about 5 tips that will help you succeed in the lifestyle, or at least 5 things that we've done that really got us through this whole journey and got us to where we are today.
Tip number 1, we did it at our own pace. We didn't let anyone else influence us. Although I will say we had a serious amount of FOMO that everyone else, by appearances, had it all figured out, that it was just one big breeze, and we were struggling all the time. So even though we were on the same page, we were fraught with challenges. What were some of these challenges?
Well, a lot of times we were trying to figure out what was going to happen before it happened.
Yeah.
So we were in this constant situation of, who's going to be there? What's going to happen? What are we going to do?
What are the expectations? How do I get prepared? It's so unknown that the fear was overtaking us, even though we had read about it, listened to a bazillion podcasts about it. It didn't apply to us in our area.
Right. So the big key that we figured out, and this really is that tip, and that is that we decided to just do what we were comfortable with and continue to make progress at that pace. Not try to overshoot, not try to constantly reevaluate our boundaries, but when our boundaries felt like we were ready to shift, we would shift, but not before. So it was really just, let's just do what we like to do. Let's be comfortable in our own skin. And for a lot of couples, that just means you're soft swap and that's all you do, or you're just there to watch. And all of those things are okay. Don't feel like you have to do what everybody else is doing. Like you said, everybody's going to be doing their own thing. And there are people who are doing things that are uncomfortable for them. You don't have to be like them. There are people who are way overshooting their boundaries. And we don't recommend that. We recommend staying kind of in your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
Until you're ready.
Until you're ready. Number 2, we talked about our fears. Lots and lots of conversations about fears, expectations, what if scenarios. And it helped a lot. We did a lot of analysis. And I think in hindsight, it was a little bit of analysis paralysis. But that's just how we were consuming our information. Like I said, 10, 12 years ago, wasn't a whole lot of information out there other than just podcasts. There was a few books, but we didn't even really find out about the books until way later.
Right.
And I don't even know if adult dating sites, other than monogamous dating sites, existed. Did SDC, Cassidy, and SLS even exist?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were there. And
how come we didn't sign up for them?
Well,
was it a money thing?
No, I think we didn't know about them because we didn't Google search for them. And at the time, they just didn't pop up on our radar. And it wasn't until I think months later that we figured out, oh, it's not just Craigslist. There is an SLS, and we can log in there and we can find out about parties and events. But we knew about dating sites, like vanilla dating sites, because that's how we'd met, was through a dating site.
Right.
We didn't know that there were swinger dating sites at the time.
It's ironic that Craigslist popped up for adult dating site, but offshoot of adult dating site, like more than just adult, like one night stand hookups or swinger hookups before SDC Cassidy or us even showed up. It was Craigslist.
Yeah, well, because Craigslist at the time had set up a whole section for meeting other people. It was kind of a hookup site. It was, an R for R, if you will. People looking for another person to do a particular thing. It was fun. It was a great section of Craigslist. And then, of course, the 18 and over validation law kicked in and Craigslist shut all that stuff down because human trafficking, which I'm sure happened on Craigslist, but that was not the majority of users. It was people like us who were looking for parties, fun stuff to do.
All right. Number 3.
We tried uncomfortable things. So the whole thing about kind of staying in your lane and going at your own pace, we knew that, our feelings popped up and we started to get comfortable to go, I'm a little excited to try something different. Are you okay with that? So as an example, we've got a great episode about our first full swap experience. If you haven't watched that, absolutely check it out. And there's a link to it up above. We got to a point where we started to get excited about new things to try. We were like, ooh, that looks like a lot of fun. We should try that. But we wanted to make sure that we weren't getting hurt in the process.
Right.
Or that if something was uncomfortable, that we would talk about it. So go back to the previous tip where we were having conversations to make sure that we were both comfortable. And we were willing to kind of try anything once just to see if we liked it, if we were okay with trying it out. So when something presented itself, we would have a little conversation about it. What do you think? Should we try it? Yeah, if we don't like it, we'll go back to the way we were.
Mm-hmm. I think we also were, because we had talked so much about what if scenarios, that when a scenario presented itself, we were comfortable enough to go, yeah, sure, let's pull the trigger and do it. Because I remember there were a lot of in the moment decisions when we decided to push some boundaries.
Yes.
And I think that was because we laid some of that foundation ahead of time, the what if scenarios, and we got comfortable with our environment as well. And it was an environment we felt safe in.
Yeah. And I think we had, like you said, enough conversations, but we'd also gotten to a point where when we'd kind of stretched our boundaries a little bit and it didn't blow up in our faces, we go,
oh,
okay, I feel okay with testing the waters a little bit to see how it's going to go because we've done so well at recovering. So a lot of this is trying new things, seeing how you feel, and not just how you feel about that thing, but how well do you recover from trying those new things?
Yeah, exactly. Number 4, we allowed growth and change.
Yeah. As we were experimenting and we tried different things, we had different preferences. And so we got to points where we were okay with soft swap. After a little while, we tried that for a little bit. We grew, we changed. Our experiences were good enough where we said, wow, this is great. Let's just sit in this for a little while. We'll stay here. We'll enjoy these experiences until they didn't feel quite as fresh or new or exciting as what they were. And we wanted to try different things. So we grew.
I do remember in the very beginning that I it was weird to me to have you watch. It felt strange. I know that I know it's not going to make sense, but in my mind, it felt like I was cheating if I was doing it in front of you.
Right.
Even though I had your consent, I felt like I needed to have that experience in a separate room with a single guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how my brain was working. It was like I had compartmentalized relationship mode with dating mode. And I didn't feel like I could completely be free with my body and my experience unless I was in, quote, relationship mode, which meant you had to be completely out of the picture.
Right.
And so it was this weird opposition. And so that was my proposal to you in the beginning. And you were like, ooh, I don't know about that. I'd be willing to give you that experience probably 3, maybe 4 times. But after that's my limit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Because I couldn't really see anything past that. To me, it was just a hard line. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see where we go after 3 times.
Yeah.
And then it never happened. It never happened. It never happened as a separate room ever with a single guy. It only happened with a single guy with you in the room like a decade later.
Yeah. Yeah. We were way deep into this experience before we got to that place.
It's kind of crazy.
We did have a couple experiences in hotel parties where there were 3 or 4 or 5 couples, and we ended up in separate play situations, but it wasn't intended.
It's just there's no room on the bed.
Yeah, there's no room on the bed, which happens.
Or you go to get a snack or a drink, and you start to have a conversation with somebody, and all of a sudden you fall onto a couch.
Right. And what we did learn from all of these experiences as we went through them was there were things that we were more comfortable with, and we kind of just fell into our own groove again. So once again, we went at our own pace. As we learned things, we backed off, we moved forward. It just, we were honest with each other, and which is really great because that kind of leads us into tip number 5, which is trust. We prided ourselves, and we were very conscientious from the very beginning that we had to be honest with each other about our feelings. And honesty, and this is going to be a little bit of a bare admission. So those of you who've watched this far, good for you, because you're going to get some deep inside secrets.
Oh, boy.
Very early on, we had struggled with what level of honesty we had with each other, especially when it came to sex.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a period of time where you felt compelled to fake orgasms.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to make sure I was having a good time.
Yeah. My perception was it's my job to make sure somebody's having a good time.
Right.
Whether it's I'm hosting a party and I've got guests, I'm trying to make sure everyone has a good time. If I'm with a male partner, I want to make sure he has a good time.
Right.
So I would do that at my own detriment.
Yes.
And, I was taught to fake it if it wasn't real. And that was, part of societal programming from when I was brought up, and part of maybe that people pleaser in me. So, I got into the bad habit of doing that. And when that came out, that was really hard for me to disclose.
Yeah.
Because I had to be honest with myself first.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then I had to tell you, and you were really upset. You were shocked and upset because you felt, I think, well, you tell how you felt.
Yeah. I'm glad that you brought up the introspection part, because for me, not having that information, not having the knowledge that I wasn't pushing the right buttons, or at least not in the right order or the right timing, robbed me of the opportunity to learn how your body worked.
Right.
And it sets us up for some really bad experiences in the lifestyle, because no one's ever going to figure out the buttons if you don't tell them that they're not figuring out the buttons.
Right.
And for those of you who are out there who are not getting what you expect out of an experience, you have to tell people. It's that honesty. You have to trust that the partner that you're with is telling you what you need to know to adjust, to get better at what you're doing.
Right.
So it's okay, guys. You're not going to get it right most of the time with a new partner.
Right.
So you got to learn. You got to look for the cues. You got to have that conversation ahead of time and just be honest and go, I don't know any of your buttons. You're going to have to tell me what your buttons are. So if I'm doing something right, let me know, grab my hair, pull me in deeper, whatever you need to do to communicate that I'm on the right track. That's what I want. I want feedback. I want to know what's working.
The other thing that we also always kept saying to each other was, we are in it together. This is a team sport, if you will.
Right.
And either one of us can pull the plug at any time if it's not enjoyable, if it's causing too much stress, distress. In fact, we basically did pull the plug for about 8-9 months.
Yeah.
Because of the overwhelm. It was too much stimulus. It was too much information. It was a lot of mental and emotional processing.
Yeah.
So I just needed a break. I was exhausted.
Yeah. There was also a period of time where we weren't having great experiences at the parties.
Right.
And we were still trying to figure out how do we navigate all of that stuff? What do we need to do? And I think what we finally came to was lowering our expectations when we go to parties. And you'll hear people say this a lot, but that's really hard to do. That's not an easy thing to do.
Right.
And a lot of it is just comes down to being present, being mindful of how you're feeling, and do what you're feeling that night. So if you're not feeling sexy, you could go to the party and be social, but don't like pressure yourself to do something that you're not comfortable with, and definitely don't set yourself up for being disappointed because you and your partner are not on the same page. And that's the whole, we're in this together. Not only can we pull back when we're feeling uncomfortable or when something bothers us, but also if we both show up at a party and we're going in different directions, like I'm in it and you're not, we've got to be together on that. We can't have two different agendas at a party. And so we had a game plan before each party, and we did a mid-party check-in to see how we were doing. How are you feeling now?
And the other thing that helped too was really setting the tone for that evening. Initially, and not to say that it didn't change in the midpoint recap,
right,
when we did our huddle, but you're right. Sometimes I wanted to go and just be social, and I wasn't feeling particularly sexy that day or that evening. And I thought, well, maybe the vibe, the music, the people will get me in the mood. But if not, then at least I'm going to have some really great open conversations with everybody, and we'll get to meet some new people and hopefully make some connections, because the face-to-face interaction for me was worth the $60, $80 that we spent on the house party, because getting to know someone on a chat was practically impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and sometimes the evening changed or shifted, and all of a sudden somebody piqued my interest, and I'm like, okay, let's have some fun tonight.
Yeah. And so many of our experiences have been going in with an open mind. Maybe that's a better way of saying it than no expectations. It's be open to whatever's going to happen there, whether it's just social or whether it's sexy. And oftentimes we would end up at a party and things, you got into the mood and things changed for us.
What I think really shifted was because you've hired the babysitter, you snuck out of the house to get because your kids are there and they want to know what you're wearing. So you're changing in the car. Maybe you got a hotel room. You paid for the party. You spent an hour or two getting ready, shaving every part of your body, getting your hair. I mean, there are hours and financial commitments that went into this. And you're thinking, I don't want it to just be a meet and greet, right?
Right.
So we decided, since we had children in the house still, that if nobody at the party was exciting or that wasn't really going the way we preferred, we took it as an opportunity to just play ourselves.
Right.
And since we liked being exhibitionists, we sometimes got the party started and we still played with ourselves. And if we spent $80 or $60 on a house party, it was still cheaper than getting a hotel in the city where we lived to go have time where we could be loud and do things that we wanted to do that we couldn't really do in the house because ears.
Yeah.
So that's where we were a team and on the same page also, where we're like, this is an us activity. If no one tickles our fancy, let's do us.
Right.
And we did.
Let's do each other. And I think this trust tip wouldn't be complete if we didn't talk about the thing that everybody thinks swinging is all about, and that is that it's cheating. That you are having sex with someone other than your lifelong partner, therefore it's cheating. And this is where we have a disagreement with it, where it's not cheating because it's a mutual decision. Just like you both decide to go on vacation together to Disneyland, you've both decided to go do this together. It's an activity that you have chosen to do together, which means that if you are in fact doing it without the consent of your partner, that is cheating. If you're doing things that they don't know about and aren't aware of, unless they've consented to that, it's non-consensual, and therefore it is not the E&M. It is not ethical non-monogamy. That's just cheating. And there's no faster way of breaking your partner's trust than cheating on them or doing things without their knowledge. Period.
So let's recap. What are the 5 things? Go at your own pace. Talk about your fears. Try uncomfortable things. Allow growth and change. And trust one another.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget your homework. Tell a friend about our show and leave a review or a comment down below. You can also leave us a voicemail at 916-538-0482 or reach out to us at swingeruniversity.com. You can leave us a message there. You can leave us an email. We even have a little widget on our contact page where you can leave us a 90-second voice message. And if you want to be on the show, let us know. We'll put that in.
Also, if you want to go on vacation with us, check out our vacation page because we have all kinds of fun and exciting vacations planned. We are actually next year going on 2 cruises on Virgin. So if you want to hang out with us, check out that page.
And as we say, keep learning, keep growing, and keep it sexy.